Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's JS Cards here coming at you. We got a special guest today doing a deck profile. We have Christian, the TheHavreCardMan here. He's a good friend of mine, a fellow Yu-Gi-Oh content creator. He's a part of the Fusion YGO YouTube channel as well. There'll be some other links down below. And he's also a great video editor, but also a really cool deck builder. So I thought I'd get him on the channel so we could talk about this. And Christian, go ahead, introduce yourself a little bit more and tell us what you got here today.
All right, I am currently going by the TheHavreCardMan, and for a very good reason. If you can't tell by this video feed here already, we got the scrap tokens, we got the scrap playmat. This is scrap time, baby, and we are going to be showing you today my Toolbox deck profile. Basically, this deck is just aimed at going second, tearing apart boards, and then establishing your own if you can't get the kill. And this deck has actually been insane at just stealing wins from like random meta decks. I've been taking it on Ranked Omega. I actually have a full series dedicated to just playing this deck online on Ranked Omega. So if you guys want to check that out, just go on Fusion YGO. There's a whole playlist for it. I'm also going to do a combo tutorial for this. It's going to be really in-depth because there's a lot of combos you can do. So if you guys want to check that out, that'll be on the channel as well. So go there for that. So anyways, let's just go ahead and get into the deck. Like, really, a lot of the explanation for it will come out as we're going through the card by card. So I think that'll help out a little bit.
Awesome, let's go for it.
Jumping into the main deck here. I'm gonna go in order of starters, extenders, and board breakers, I believe is how I have it set up. And then garnets. All right, so starting off here with our starters, this is a 60-card list, by the way, to preface this. So for those of you that aren't huge combo or 60-card deck fans, I'm sorry. So we're running 3 Scrap Raptor, 3 Scrap Recycler. These are basically like our main starters here. You basically, Recycler is your best starter, but you have many different ways to get into him. And then we're also playing Scrap Oviraptor, as I'm referring to him from now on. He is no longer just a generic dinosaur card. He belongs to the Scraps.
All right, awesome.
Following that up with Searchers, we got 3 Scrapyards and 3 Fossil Digs. So, like, just there alone, that is 12 different cards that are all one-card combos that are just absolutely insane. There's still more, actually, for more starters. We also have 3 urgent schedules. Because this is going second, you can easily use this as a one-card starter. And we'll get to into that later on, why that is a starter. Same thing, and actually the urgent schedule, too, another thing with that is that's not only a starter, it's actually a starter with an extension play, which is just insane. 3 Machina redeployment, also, well, 1.5 card starter in this instance, because you see something to pitch off of it, but we've got enough garnets to pitch that we don't care. And then Miscellaneousaurus and Animador Narcissaur are also in their own right, like, kind of starters, which we'll get into later as well. You know, it's mostly just the Archosaur, but the Mist can get into that, so that's it for the starters.
So
and I
many
believe that's
starters.
a total of like 23 I counted.
That is insane. I love it.
Yeah, 23 starters in a 60-card list with a 6-card hand is like a 94 or 95% chance of opening at least one every single game.
That is crazy.
So, and you can use like some of these starters as extenders as well. So like it's just free bonus.
Awesome.
So for the extenders now, actually, we have 2 Scrap Golem. This is your main extender. You basically recycle him and Recycler several times throughout the turn and just keep getting them back from the graveyard to fill up your graveyard and give you more plays. Or you can actually use Scrap Golem to revive a Raptor and go for a Synchro level 9, so that's pretty cool. 2 baby Cerosaurus and 1 Petite Pteranodon. There is a reason for the 1 Petite, but basically it's just baby names. Mostly it's to get us a Scrap Raptor from deck. If we open like an Oviraptor or a Misk and then one of these, that's just instant scrap combo, and you get protected plays because of the Misk. It'll actually protect your Scrap Raptor, which is just insane. And then 1 Machina Fortress. This can help unclog hands and also you can use this as like a multiple extender. You can use it like 2 or 3 times in a turn, depending on how you open up. 2 World Legacy Succession, free Monster Reborn in this deck. It is searchable, but you like to have an extra one for the follow-up play. 1 normal Monster Reborn, card's just good. 1 double Evolution Pill to search off of our Archosaur, and actually has really good targets, so like, why not? One Scrap Factory. I've been kind of like on the fence about this card because it is kind of a win more, but it's also a really, really good extender. Basically, if you open this and a Scrap Raptor, you have a chain blocked combo with extenders. Like, it's just nuts. But you can also search it off of the Scrap Raptor if you open a Raptor and a Recycler, so like that's good. So that's basically it for the extenders, with the exception of this next one, but it's also a board breaker card, so it kind of fits into both categories. 3 Triple Tactics Talents, absolutely not mandatory for the deck, but you do get hand trapped a lot. And of course, you're also going second, so getting this resolved is not nearly as hard as most strategies. So Triple Tactics is just free in this deck. If we need to, we'll just side it out games 2 and 3. For more of our board breaker cards here, probably this one I'm kind of debating on whether or not it's the best one. 3 Dark Ruler, just absolutely insane. You know, negate all your opponent's monsters, and then you just tear apart their board piece by piece, and they basically are out of interruptions by that point usually. This next one though, I'm playing 3 copies of Mystic Mine. There are actually situations where this can be much more effective than a Dark Ruler no more. Because if your opponent has 2 or more monsters on their field, you basically get your free combo. You can get rid of this card, and it also stops your opponent's hand traps until you get rid of this. So, like, this is kind of more free in some cases. If nothing else, it can at least bait on a negate, which is always good. Or it can just steal a game on its own in the right situations, which is the other kind of nice thing about it. So, Mystic Mine is kind of one of those, I hate the card, but I'm playing it anyways because it does win.
True.
And for back row hate, because back row is kind of rough against this deck, depending, we are running the 1 Harpies and then 2 Cosmic in main deck. We'll get more on that later on the side. And then we also have 1 Pank and 1 Dogoran. These are extra targets to search off of, like our Oviraptor, or to special summon off of the Petite if we don't have any other targets. So Pankratops is our main Petite target. We can go Dogoran if we really need to, just have the extra body. Or at that point, we'd probably just go Scrap Raptor, though, in all honesty. But Dogoran, basically, if you open up, like, enough dinosaurs, you can just search a Dogoran off your Oviraptor instead of, like, a Misk or a Baby. So, always really good. Last up for the board breakers here is 3 copies of Jizakuru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. He's really good. He's got a lot of synergy with some of the Garnets we got coming up here. And then also you can search him off of popping your Urgent Schedule. So if you're going first and you open Urgent Schedule plus the rest of your combo, you just set it in the back row and then pop it off of Scrap Wyvern's second pop. And then you get to search one of these guys for free for the follow-up, which is super cool.
That seems good.
One Machina Citadel. These are the Garnets now. So let's get the board breakers out of the way. So for Garnets, we have 1 Machina Citadel and 1 Machina Ruin Force. The Ruin Force is actually where the Kaijus come in clutch because they're just extra banish targets. If you Kaiju away your opponent's monster, like a really problem one that you can't deal with otherwise, then you can just end up destroying the Kaiju later and using it as Ruin Force banish fodder, which is really cool. And then for the Machina redeployment targets, we actually have 1 Irradiator and 1 Megaform. Because this will actually get us into our scrap combo if we don't open a Recycler, a Raptor, or just like any way to get to a Recycler. If we don't open up any of those, these 2 will get us there. So if we Machina redeployment to search these 2, we can use a Radiator to discard the Megaform. And then we use a Radiator's field effect to summon back the Megaform and get rid of the Irradiator. And then we can tribute the Megaform to summon our next Garnet, which is actually a Machina Metal Cruncher. So if we didn't open up a Scrap Recycler, we could use the Metal Cruncher at this point to search, and we'll just select 3 Scrap Recyclers, and we'll just automatically get 1 to our hand, and then we haven't used our normal summon yet. So this is actually an extended combo as well, because you have the body on field already to link it to Scrap Wyvern, which means that Recycler can dump something like your Citadel, it can dump a Ruin Force, it can dump extra extenders, whatever you need. You don't have to dump, like, the start of the combo, which is really cool. Next up for Garnets here, 1 World Legacy World Chalice. This is our Lib target. The best one that we can have for this specific build because we're not playing Orchist. On the follow-up, we can banish this to search our second World Legacy Succession from our deck, which if we still have a Link Arrow on our field, we can just make a recovery play and just come right back at our opponent, which is super cool. 1 Krishan Rosenix. If we don't open up an extender to get into the Scrap Wyvern, just Scrap Recycler, dump this, and then make Wyvern. It's super easy. 1 Codebreaker 0 Day. Sometimes kind of a win more card, but I really like the Codebreaker combo. It's totally worth it. And lastly here is 1 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno for the final target of that double evolution pill.
Nice. Wow.
So that should wrap it up there for the main deck, I think.
That is quite the
Should be all
list.
60. It is. It's very daunting. But when you open up with 6 cards, you definitely have a lot more like options and versatility, which is kind of what this deck is meant to be. It's listed as Toolbox for a reason, so you're meant to be able to face any strategy and have like something to do at least. You know, it's very unlikely that you're gonna brick. So that's what I really love about this deck. All right, so for the extra here, I'm going to start off. There's one non-link monster on this extra deck. That's just the kind of the deck we play. So to start off here, Link Spider, great for getting tokens off the field because we need a lot of effect monsters for materials. So this can get rid of a Nibiru token. This can get rid of a Crystron token. You know, whatever kind of token you need to get rid of, you can just take care of it with Link Spider. Next up, 2 Scrap Wyverns, because this is your main link too. This is your absolute combo starter. If you can get into this, you can make combo. And I run 2 because I've actually had it where people Imperm or Veiler on summon instead of when I activate the effect. So then all I have to do is just get another body on field that link into a second one, and then I can just go off with my effects like normal. And they basically did nothing. So like, just absolutely awesome to have 2 in here. It's the only 2 of we have in this extra deck as well. Next up, we have a Lib, the World Key Blade Master. This will search you out a World Legacy Succession from deck that you can activate during your turn. And it also provides you with arrows. And then when it's used as link material, you can shuffle a card on the field into the deck. Non-targeting, non-banishment, or non-destruction removal. Get out stuff like Dragoon. It can just out, you know, you can get rid of any card on the field with this. And just send it right back to the deck. Lib is insane. I haven't had it come up too much on that because usually I've cleared the board by then, but I have had it come up often enough that second effect is worth it. But even just having the extender with the World Legacy Succession makes it worthwhile. 1 IP Masquerena, gotta respect the quick effect link. It's insane, especially in this deck. Codebreaker, Virus Swordsman, and a Codebreaker, Virus Berserker to pair it up. Codebreaker combo, super simple, super easy, and a lot of, actually, something I didn't realize until I played this deck is that Virus Berserker has a second effect where he can pop back row up to the number of linked Codebreaker monsters. So basically, once you summon him, you've got 3 linked Codebreaker monsters. You can just pop 3 back row for free.
I don't think I've ever read that card. That's good to know.
Yeah, the Codebreaker combo is actually really nuts, and it's funny that it works in Appliancers, and that I found a way to make it work in any deck. So thank you, Scarlet, for this tech. I can't remember where he got it from, but yeah, I gotta give Scarlet credit for the Codebreaker tech.
Shout out to Scarlet.
And for more back row dealing, we do have a Top Logic Trizbana. Just because, yeah, back row sucks. If we can make it to 4 bodies, we can make it Trizbana and get the Spell Trap Banishment and just clear up a field. So sometimes it can actually steal games too, which is cool. 1-star Aegis School Dread, which is actually our main way of getting Codebreaker combo. Because he has the arrows we need for it. And then he can actually special summon an extra body, which will be necessary for getting Codebreaker combo. So Aegis School Dread, absolutely mandatory. Nightmare Griffin. This guy steals games. Oh my lord. I can't tell you how many games I've won because people just did not read Griffin's last line of text. Just for those watching, I'm going to read it out to you really quick because just so many people don't know about it. Everyone knows about the discard for the Spell and Trap and then draw card. But his last line of text is special summon monsters in the field cannot activate their effects unless they are linked. So this basically can stop decks like Sword Soul, Shadal, anything that special summons when they don't special summon it to an arrow. They just can't activate their effects. It's basically a Mystic Mine to a degree.
With a body,
Nightmare Griffin's nuts. Crazy. And the thing is, this deck will set up a combo where Nightmare Griffin is in the main monster zone, and I don't give my opponent any arrows. So if they can't set up a link monster, basically they can't play. It's the funniest thing ever.
I love it.
Yep. And of course, we always back up our Nightmare Griffin with an Appaloosa. So, like a 3 or 4 to gate Appaloosa with a Nightmare Griffin. So even if they normal summon, they're not going to get their effects. It's just not happening. So, 1 Boral Sword to help close games. Just good to have. 1 Unchained Abomination, actually another way we can make Codebreaker combo because he also has the right arrows. And sometimes we don't need the extender, so Abomination can actually be better in certain cases. And then finally for the Link monsters here, 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This card is so underrated. Being able to steal an opponent's monster for a Link material, get a Graveyard Negate, get a Dark Ruler No More effect. This card is just so much in one package. And basically, all you have to do is have enough materials to make a Boral Sword on your field, and then 1 monster on your opponent's field. That's it. And it can play around like towers effects, like anything that's unaffected by monster effects or card effects. Underworld Goddess doesn't care about because it's just using it as material. So like, it really doesn't matter if you go up against an rival cyber setting this or just Underworld Goddess it away and you're good to go. Like that's all there is to it.
I know.
To finish off the extra here is one of Volzar Logia because there's actually a combo in which we can use Scrap Raptor and Oviraptor to make a Logia and then just go off the rest of our combo. So, like, it's just a protection negate, basically. Or if we need it, it's an extra Omni negate against our opponent, which is awesome. All right. That'll round the extra off. And the side deck is actually very, like, specific for this deck, and it's kind of hard to change it. But I also have some spicy stuff in here, so... For the side deck, one Foolish Burial, I swapped it out. There was initially 2 Scrap Factories in here, but I took one out and I put it in the main. So this was kind of the swap off instead. And then for more back row hate, we have the Triple Twin. Don't at me for not having the 3rd gold rare. I'm just waiting on it to show up. I promise it's coming. So people in the comments, do not bash me for that.
Be nice, everyone.
Yeah, right. There's the last Cosmic Cyclone right here. Just if we know we're going against the back row matchup, good to have that quick play removal to get rid of it before we make our plays. 1 Scrap Factory for extra extender if we know we're going first. And next up here is what I'd like to call my Toxic package, because you guys have seen the cards that I play while going second. But if this deck goes first, it gets really mean, because we play Curious Lightsworn Dominion, and we pair that up with Imperial Order and Dimensional Barrier.
All right, these are out of left field, but I love it.
So the crazy thing is, right, you play these at one-ofs in this deck because you can naturally make Curious in this deck, given if you have a Scrap Golem, a Scrap Recycler, and a Scrap Wyvern on your field, that is instantly the materials you need for a Curious Lightsworn Dominion. So you link all of them together, make this, and then you dump one of your Floodgates, and later, like whichever one fits better to your current situation, so it's better for games 2 and 3. You send whatever you need to the graveyard, get your extra mill 3, which can give you more extenders. And then later in the combo, you go into a Nightmare Griffin, discard 1 card from hand, set one of these in the back row, get a free draw, and then now you've just got a Floodgate on your field and a different card in hand. Like, it's just absolutely nuts. It's super free. Dimensional Barrier just kills Sword Soul and Shadal and stuff like that. So, like, just absolutely insane. Imperial Order comes up against a lot of decks, especially stuff like Floowandereeze that doesn't necessarily care about D-Barrier. I've been thinking about other traps to put in here, and like a lot of them either just hinder my deck too much or don't impact enough on the meta to be worth it. So I've just kind of ignored those. We do have some hand traps in this deck here in the side deck, and that is going to be 3 copies of Phantasme. This is just for when we know that we're going to go second, like if we win game 1, but we're going against a link-based strategy. We'll side this in, because this will help us get rid of Garnets, it'll give us protection, it'll give us an extender to get our combos. Phantasme just has so much synergy with this deck, but only when we're going against a link strategy, so with there being a good variety in the format right now, it's good to leave it in the side until you know that you need it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep, and my last card here, which I think is probably the most underrated hand trap, especially for this format here, is actually 3 copies of Heavenly Zephyr Miradora.
Oh.
This card is bonkers. Like, I am not gonna lie. And people have just slept on it. Like, I remember this being like $20-some on release, and now it's like $4 or $5 max a copy. So what this does, right, is that when your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck with 2,000 or more attack, you can activate his effect to special summon him from hand. And then once he hits the field, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls that is special summoned from the extra deck, and neither player can activate its effects while he is on the field.
Wow.
And also his effects, his activations and effects cannot be negated. So basically, Miradora, he can out Zeus, he can out Barone, he can out a Bardiche. There are so many extra deck monsters that he can out, and that will also provide you with a body that you can use. Of course, once you get rid of the body, the opponent's monster can activate their effects again, but if you clear it off the field first, it doesn't matter. You know, and then it can stop opponents' turns. Like, Miradora is absolutely insane. I think people need to pay attention to him more, especially with the clause that his effects and activations cannot be negated. So, like, your opponent can't do anything to do that. There's nothing they can do to protect their combos from a Miradora. It's just unstoppable. The best they could do is pop it after it's on field, but if you use it on something like a Barone, it can't use its destruction effect. and they just don't have a way to get rid of it. Basically they have to have like a Dark Ruler or more forbidden droplets to use on it. And even then, they're just like wasting extra resources just so that they can play the game.
Wow. Yeah, I know
So I mean,
you've said in other
yes.
deck profiles that you really like this card. You've been a fan of it for a while, and yeah, people should check it out more. And it's a wind too, which is relevant. So
Yep.
it looks like a
Yep.
fun card. I like that tech.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I thought about throwing in the Starlight copies for this, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna leave those in my binder.
There you
So,
go. All right.
all right.
That is awesome, man. This just looks like a really fun list. I know you put a lot of time into it and even figured out the calculations and the ratios of what you're going to open and stuff like that. So, guys, show this man some love. Christian, where can people find you?
You can find me over at Fusion YGO, like I mentioned earlier. I'm also on Twitter with the handle @HavreCardMan. I'll show up as the TheHavreCardMan, and then of course, just anywhere basically on the internet. I'll be just about anywhere. But
Awesome. And all those links will be down below. Guys, yeah, go check out Fusion YGO for more of this deck. Some ranked Omega replays, like he said earlier. The combo video should be up soon. And he's got like a previous deck profile of this as well over there. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you hit that like button. And Christian, thanks for being here today. And everyone else, stay tuned for more deck profiles and Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming soon. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.